Okay, I want everyone to close their eyes for a second. Unless you're driving, please don't do that. But if you can, just close your eyes and picture the word peace. What do you see?
I'm guessing a lot of people are seeing a hammock. Maybe a beach at sunset?
Exactly. A distinct lack of email notifications, maybe, a spa day with cucumber water. Basically, we tend to define peace as a break. It's the absence of chaos.
Right, it's checking out. We see it as this passive state. It's what happens when the noise finally stops.
But today, we are diving into a text that takes that definition, crumples it up, and just throws it in the trash.
Yeah.
We're looking at James Allen's classic work, From Poverty to Power.
And specifically part 2.
Yes, specifically part 2, which is titled The Way of Peace. And let me tell you, Allen's version of peace, it is not a nap. It is a conquest.
It's a war. It's a rigorous, almost militant psychological journey. Allen describes the way of peace not as something you just stumble upon during a vacation, but as a mystic ladder that you have to climb rung by rung. He says it leads from error to truth and from pain to peace. It's an incredibly active, demanding state.
That's what hooked me immediately when I was reading this. The idea that peace isn't something you find, it's something you build. Or maybe more accurately, something you fight for.
Right.
Now, just to orient everyone, James Allen published this back in 1901. Part 1 of the book was all about material prosperity. Getting your external life, your finances, your career sorted out.
What part 2? It shifts gears entirely.
Completely. It goes inward. He moves from the path of prosperity to the realization of perfect peace. And the core mission of this deep dive is to unpack Allen's central and, frankly, quite radical argument.
Which is that peace has absolutely nothing to do with your external circumstances.
Which is so hard to swallow.
It is. We want to believe that if we just got that raise, or if the kids would just behave, or if the political climate was different, then we'd be peaceful. Allen says no. You could be rich, famous, sitting on that beach you imagined, and still be in total turmoil. For him, peace is an unshakable internal state.
And it's achieved through one specific mechanism, the total extinction of self.
The extinction of self. And we are definitely going to spend some time on that because to the modern ear, that sounds
terrifying. It sounds like psychological suicide. Extinguish myself. No thanks.
It does sound severe. But Allen argues it's the only way to become, invincible to stress.
So let's start the climb. He talks about this mystic ladder. And the rungs of this ladder are built through meditation.
But I want to be really clear here. He's not talking about the clear your mind for 10 minutes app-based mindfulness we see today.
No, and this is a crucial distinction. Allen is very technical here. He defines spiritual meditation as the only pathway to divinity.
And he distinguishes it sharply from reverie or daydreaming. When you just sit and let your mind wander.
That's not it.
That's not it. He calls meditation the intense dwelling in thought upon an idea.
Intense dwelling. So it's not about emptying the mind. It's about turning the mind into a focused laser beam.
Exactly. It's cognitive work.
I love the practical how-to aspect of this section because he links it directly to behavior. He says meditation must be inseparable from self-discipline.
Right.
Basically, you can't sit there for 20 minutes of and then go back to being a jerk to your spouse.
Precisely. If you are meditating but not changing your character, Allen says you're just daydreaming. It's a fantasy.
So what do you do?
He challenges the listener to rigorously examine themselves. You have to compare your own motives, your thoughts, your acts against your ideal. And he gives a really specific instruction on how to handle your vices using this focused thought.
This was the meditating on the opposite technique.
Yeah.
I found this fascinating because it feels like cognitive behavioral therapy before that was even a thing.
It really is. He says if you are prone to hatred or anger, you don't just try to suppress the anger or grit your teeth. That's just bottling it up. Instead, you meditate on gentleness and forgiveness. You dwell on the opposite virtue. You think about it, you visualize it, you try to understand it so deeply that the anger is actually displaced.
So it's active replacement. You're essentially rewriting the code in your brain.
Think of it like a garden. If you have weeds, which are the anger or the greed, you don't just cut them, you plant a massive oak tree right where the weed is.
Oh.
The oak tree takes all the sunlight and nutrients, and the weed naturally dies. You focus on the virtue, and the vice starves.
That's a great way to visualize it. Allen uses another metaphor that really stuck with me, the dark room.
Yes, this is to explain why we struggle with this. He says a man can shut himself up in a dark room and deny that light exists. He can say, it's pitch black, there is no sun.
And he's not wrong from his perspective.
From his little room, no. But the darkness is only in his room. And here's the key. You can't shovel the darkness out. You can't fight the dark with a sword.
Right, you can't attack the absence of something.
Exactly. You have to pull down the walls, which he calls the walls of prejudice and self-seeking, and simply let the glorious and omnipresent light in. The light doesn't have to be created. It's already there.
We are just blocking it. It's a powerful image. We've built a bunker of self that keeps the peace out, and then we complain that it's dark inside.
And he raises the stakes here. He says this isn't just about feeling better. He claims that without this mental and spiritual equilibrium, men are just helpless straws upon the ocean of life.
It's a haunting image, isn't it? Being a straw, just tossed around by every wave of circumstance.
Totally. If the market crashes, you crash. If someone insults you, you crumble. If the weather is bad, your mood is bad. You have zero mass.
Alan wants you to be the ocean, not the straw.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the root of the problem. If we are straws, why? What is making us so lightweight and vulnerable? This moves us into, well, the core conflict. Alan has a diagnosis for human suffering that is blunt.
Oh, yeah. It's not what you want to hear when you're having a bad day. It's radical responsibility. He says all suffering, every bit of it, is rooted in self.
He writes, sorrow and self are inseparable.
Sorrow and self are inseparable. That's a heavy statement.
So let's play devil's advocate here. If I'm grieving or if I'm stressed about a health issue or just overwhelmed, Alan is saying that's essentially my fault. That feels a bit like victim blaming.
I can see why it feels that way, but let's look at how he defines self.
Yeah.
He's not talking about your existence or your soul. He's talking about the egoic attachment to how things affect you. He lists specific scenarios. He says if you suffer remorse or disappointment, or if you are wounded by what others say about you, it is because you are clinging to self.
You're protecting your image, your desires, your comfort.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's make this concrete. If someone insults me at work, let's say they call my idea stupid in a meeting, and I get angry and it ruins my whole afternoon.
Alan would say that suffering is coming from you, not them. Because why does it hurt? It hurts because yourself wants to be seen as smart. Yourself is defending its reputation.
Right.
If you didn't have that egoic attachment, that need to be seen a certain way, the insult would just be words.
It would be sound waves vibrating in the air. It would pass right through you.
You wouldn't be a target anymore because there's nothing for the insult to hit. Precisely.
And this leads to his solution, which is self-denial. But he clarifies that this isn't just modesty or saying, oh, shucks, I'm nobody.
No. He calls for the absolute denial, the utter extinction of self.
Right, and we're back to that scary phrase, extinction of self. Does that mean I stop existing? Do I become a robot with no personality? Because if peace means being a zombie, I think I'll pass.
That's the common fear, for sure. We equate self with who we are. But Alan explains it differently. He describes the world we live in as a blind, self-seeking world, enveloped in the darkness of error. To escape that darkness, you have to lose the personal elements, the lust, the hatred, the prejudice, the vanity. You are losing the things that make you small, separate, and reactive.
So you're not losing your consciousness, you're losing your baggage.
Right. He uses the ocean metaphor again here. He says, when the drop of water, which is man, returns to the ocean, the infinite, it loses its separateness, yes.
It's no longer just a drop.
But it gains the power of the ocean. You exchange a tiny, fragile identity for a universal, invincible one.
I like that distinction. It's not about becoming nothing. It's about becoming part of everything. He says the goal is to reach a state where you have nothing to attack, nothing to defend, nothing to conceal, and no interest to guard.
Imagine the sheer energy saving of that. Think about how much mental energy we spend defending our opinions on social media or concealing our mistakes from our boss.
Guarding our interests against competitors, it's exhausting.
Right. Alan says if you drop all that, what remains is truth. And truth is inherently peaceful because it doesn't need to fight to exist.
But dropping all that requires strength. You have to be incredibly strong to not fight back. And this brings us to the acquirement of spiritual power.
Yes, and Alan draws this really sharp contrast between passion and power. And I think we get this wrong all the time in our culture.
Oh, constantly. We are obsessed with passion. Sure. We see someone screaming at a podium or a storm raging or a boss slamming a table, and we think that's power.
Look at that force.
Yeah.
Alan says absolutely not. Passion, to him, is dissipation, weakness, death.
Dissipation? That's an interesting word choice. It sounds like dissolving.
It means energy leaking out. The person losing their temper isn't strong. They're actually weak because they can't contain their own energy. They are exploding because they lack the structure to hold it.
It's like a steam engine with a hole in the side. All the steam escapes and the train doesn't move.
That's a perfect analogy. So the calm isn't passivity, it's containment. It's high pressure held under control.
Okay.
He says unselfishness and spirituality are conservation, power, life. And the characteristic of true power is dispassion.
Now, dispassion usually sounds like not caring, like you're aloof or cold. Oh, he's just dispassionate.
It's not apathy. Apathy is below passion. Dispassion is above it. He defines it as superior self-control. He notes that a man governed by self changes his front when his comforts are threatened. He panics, he fights, he compromises his values. But the man governed by truth remains poised and self-possessed.
There's that word poised. It implies balance under pressure.
Allen gives us this incredible visual of the righteous man standing erect amid the storms of hate, surrounded by the trembling slaves of fate.
Trembling slaves of fate.
The slaves are trembling because their safety depends on external things staying calm. If the storm stops, they are safe. If it rages, they are doomed.
But the righteous man is calm because his safety is internal. He carries his safety with him.
Exactly. It's like being the eye of the hurricane. The storm is spinning around you, and you are absolutely still. He calls this sublime patience.
And he says that patience is the hallmark of divine knowledge.
Which is a tough pill to swallow for us today. We want immediate results. We want to hack our way to peace. But Allen argues that if you can maintain an unbroken calm amidst duties, distractions, and insults,
that is the ultimate proof that you possess power. It's easy to be calm in a spa. Can you be calm when everything is going wrong?
That's the real test.
So we've got the method, which is meditation, the obstacle, the ego, and the result, dispassionate power. But we don't live in a vacuum. We have to deal with other people.
Annoying people, difficult people, people who haven't read James Allen.
Exactly. So Section 4 pushes this into the realm of entering the infinite, specifically through love and wisdom.
And again, we have to define terms, because Allen redefines love. It isn't just a warm, fuzzy emotion here. He calls it a law, the law of love.
And he claims this law destroys the spirit of condemnation.
Yeah, this part hit me hard. He argues that if you truly understand this law, you cease to accuse others. You stop blaming people.
But isn't that letting them off the hook? If someone is doing something wrong, shouldn't we accuse them?
It goes back to cause and effect. Allen believes in a perfect moral universe. He writes that he who oppresses today must himself be oppressed tomorrow.
Karma, basically.
Right. He's talking about the inevitable recoil of bad actions. If you realize that the person hurting you is actually just setting up their own future suffering, you don't get angry. You feel compassion.
It's like watching someone punch a brick wall. You don't get mad at them. You think, ouch, that's going to hurt your hand.
Exactly. That changes the script completely. You're not a victim. You're a witness to someone else's tragedy in the making.
That perspective shift allows you to maintain that mental equilibrium.
Right.
And that allows you to live in those silent depths we talked about earlier.
Yes, Allen brings back the ocean metaphor here, and it's beautiful. He says the surface of the ocean is the external universe. It's always in turmoil, changing, crashing. That's where politics lives, the economy lives.
Right.
But the depths, that's the eternal, that's the heart of man. Peace is living consciously in those depths, even while your body is walking around on the surface.
He describes the wise man, or the sage, in this state. He says the wise man convinces without seeking to convert, and teaches without arguing.
I think we've all met someone like that, even if rarely. Someone who doesn't need to shout to be heard. Their very presence feels solid.
Yeah, when they walk into a room, the temperature changes.
Exactly. Allen says love is all-conquering because it doesn't create resistance.
Resistance requires two forces pushing against each other.
Right. It's physics. If you push, people push back. If you argue, they defend. But if you love, truly, selflessly love, there's nothing for them to push against. You simply encompass them.
It's the martial art of the soul. You win by not fighting.
You win by transcending the fight. You rise above the battlefield entirely.
So let's say we do the work. We meditate, we discipline the self, we embrace this law of love. What is the end game? Section 5 is the realization of perfect peace. What does that look like?
It's defined as undisturbed repose. And Allen brings it back to that core definition, to conquer love of self and lust of life. This is peace. But he includes a very stern warning here. He doesn't want you to think this just happens to you by grace alone.
Yes, the step-aside warning. I underline this part.
Right. He explicitly states that gods nor angels can help you if you refuse to walk this path yourself. You can't pray for peace while acting in strife.
You have to step aside from the fret and fever of life. It's an act of will. You have to decide to exit the drama.
It puts the responsibility 100% on the individual. There's no savior coming to fix your internal state if you keep fueling the fire of self.
No one's coming to do it for you.
Exactly. But the promise is massive. He says, if one conquers the animal within, they reach a shore upon which the storms of sorrow never beat.
A state of safety that cannot be touched by tragedy. He mentions a white stone here. The white stone of the regenerate life. That felt very symbolic.
It is. It's a biblical reference from Revelation, given to him that overcometh. For Alan, it symbolizes a purified character.
Purified character.
Think about a white stone. It's hard, it's solid, it's cool to the touch, and it's pure. It's the indestructible gem of a life that has been pressurized by discipline and come out clear and perfect.
It's a beautiful image.
Yeah.
And it really drives home that this piece is a prize. It's a trophy of war, a war against your own lower nature.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's not a gift, it's a conquest.
So, zooming out, we've gone from the mystic ladder of meditation through the extinction of self, acquiring power through calmness, entering the infinite through love, and finally realizing perfect peace. It's a complete arc.
It is, and it's a journey from complexity to simplicity. Selfishness is complicated. Think about it. You have to remember your lies, defend your ego, calculate your gains, worry about what people think.
Manipulate situations. It's incredibly complex work to be selfish.
That's true.
It takes a lot of RAM.
It does. Truth, according to Alan, is simple. It's just being. It's harmony.
It makes you wonder why we choose the hard way of selfishness so often.
Habit, fear, and the illusion that the external world is what makes us happy. We are chasing the reflection of the moon in the water instead of looking up at the moon.
Wow.
Alan is grabbing us by the shoulders and saying, look inside. The kingdom is in there, but it's buried under a pile of me.
So for the listener right now who might be stuck in traffic or worrying about a deadline or replaying an argument they had this morning, what does this mean for them today? How do we apply this without moving to a monastery?
It means that you have the power to stop the storm. Not the storm outside, the traffic is still there, the deadline is still there, the noise is still there, but the storm inside.
You can choose right now to step back into the silent depths. You can choose to be the ocean, not the straw.
Yes, it starts with that how-to from the beginning. If you are feeling impatient, don't just fume, stop. Meditate on patience. Dwell on it. Ask yourself, what would a perfectly patient version of me do right now?
Displace the error with the truth.
Exactly. Become the calm, insight-filled voice of reason in your own head.
I love that. We can all be that voice of reason, even if just for ourselves.
And eventually for others. Because a calm person is a refuge for everyone else. When you are calm, you give other people permission to calm down too.
That's the goal, to be the refuge. Well, this has been a rigorous climb up the mystic ladder. James Allen really doesn't let you off the hook, does he?
No, he demands your best. But he promises the best in return.
I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. Allen throws down a challenge that I think is the ultimate test of everything we've talked about. He writes, if thou wouldst right the world,
then right thyself.
And if thou wouldst cure the world of its long sickness, cure thyself. It forces us to ask, are we willing to stop blaming the world for our unrest?
Are we brave enough to stop pointing fingers at the chaos out there and look entirely within?
That is the question.
Because until we do, peace is just a word. After we do, it's a reality.
Something to mull over. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Always a pleasure.
We'll see you next time. Stay deep.